For generations, Central Texas and the Brazos Valley have been a cradle of black excellence. From the battlefields of World War II to the halls of academia and the forefront of civic leadership, the African American community has shaped our region. Stories of men and women who left their mark on our communities, from war heroes who redefined bravery to educators who have shaped generations, to today's leaders who inspired countless. This is why we are honoring Black history.
Thank you for joining us for Honoring Black History Month. I'm MG Montemayor. It's impossible to celebrate the achievements of so many Black Americans without highlighting the accomplishments of a Waco man who went above and beyond the call of duty to defend our country. Doris Miller was the first African American recipient of the Navy Cross for displaying extraordinary bravery during the attack on Pearl Harbor. But his story goes much deeper than the one moment of bravery. I went on a mission to explore this local hero and all that he stands for.
Nestled along the banks of the Brazos River stands a 9-foot bronze sculpture of hometown hero Doris Miller. Overlooking a serene pond at Bledsoe Memorial Park, Dory stands proudly, looking over visitors like myself who've come to honor his memory. In this clip from the movie Pearl Harbor, Miller is played by actor Cuba Gooding Jr. During the attack on Pearl Harbor, Miller, even though he was just a man who worked in the kitchen, stepped into action. With no formal training, but just insurmountable courage, he took control of a .50 caliber machine gun, remarkably shooting down multiple enemy planes. I took a trip to Arlington, Texas to find out more from the family of this Waco legend. And I was greeted by members of the Miller clan, including Thomas Bledsoe, who proudly shares the story of his great uncle.
I don't know if he understood the national impact at the time of that, but I definitely know he understood that he accomplished something and broke a barrier that was there.
One of those barriers was segregation in the U.S. Navy.
It was very limited on what he was able to do, but it provided him an opportunity to be able to do those things in which, unfortunately, was not afforded to Black Americans at that time.
Even though Miller was a powerfully built, 6'3", 200-pound courageous young man when he joined the Navy in 1939, he was only given the position of mess attendant, 3rd class, one of the few jobs open to Black sailors.
Do you think he felt that injustice?
Without a doubt, he felt that.
But he didn't let it stop him, right?
He did not let it stop him. To be able to kick into a moment of saying, how can I help my brothers? Because his mind was on my brothers on my ship.
A sign of the times, when the Navy recognized the men for heroism for their actions at Pearl Harbor, Miller's name was left out, only being referred to as the unknown Negro sailor. After pressure was applied by activist groups like the NAACP, he was awarded the Navy Cross on May 27, 1942, where they actually say his name, Doris Miller. But his mission did not stop there. In 1943, Miller became the face for the recruitment of Black Americans in the Navy. He even toured around the country as a spokesperson on behalf of the war effort.
Being seen outside of a mess hall and cook, and to be recognized on a national stage, he took that with great honor and pride.
But even after all he's achieved, between his courageous acts and recruiting people of color for the U.S. Navy, the highest rank he ever received was cook, 3rd class. Exactly 2 years after Pearl Harbor, on December 7, 1943, the ship Miller was on was torpedoed, and he died at the age of 24. Lost at sea, never to return home. His memory lives on here at Doris Memorial Park in Waco, a segregated cemetery, one of the few places African Americans were allowed to be buried, even if you gave your life for your country. A biting irony as they fought against Hitler, the world's most notorious white supremacist.
Many of the Miller family, hearing those stories, we hold it with pride, but then to also see the significance of what it is to be an American, and most importantly, a patriot in our country today.
So here he is, a local hero, but represents so much more than that. A man who fought for people of all colors, understanding the principles of our country, despite he himself never getting to reap the fruits of the American dream.
And in a remarkable acknowledgement of what he stands for, a U.S. aircraft carrier will be named after Doris Miller. It's the first time in history this massive and powerful vessel will be named after an African American.